inconsistencies of life, but at the same time refraining himself from touching everything.
Yes.
It's a very delicate balance to know what to lay hands on and what not to.
Yeah, that's true.
To discern the seasons of when to plant and when to pluck up that which is planted.
Yeah.
When it's time to embrace, time to refrain from embracing.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
It's difficult because we're always trying to find the most comfortable place.
Yes. Always. Yes.
Comfort is of necessity in human beings' minds.
Yes.
And I get really passionate sometimes when I'm out on the track because on one hand you have athletes who want to get better, and then on the other hand those same athletes want the comfort level of the known while avoiding the discomfort of the unknown.
Yes.
And isn't it something, the comfort of the known norm or the normal place that you're used to being, it feels good until the results are in.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
right.
good.
Yes, that's right.
It's very true.
It feels good to handle something I can handle
Yeah.
That's true. That's so true.
until the results come back and it's not enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not quite where your goals were set. See, you can't believe that your goals are always in sync with your performance.
Yes. Yes.
True.
That's right.
True that.
That's good. That's true.
When you don't know what there feels like,
Yeah.
and when you don't know what there costs,
Yeah. My Lord. My Lord.
talk is cheap.
Yes, it is, though. Yes, it is.
And talk will always fall short.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You know, we're guilty of this in Christendom, is that we make concessions for everything.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
We make concessions for, now watch this, people are uncomfortable with going to a place in God, but they are comfortable using the resources that can get them to that place, but they'll use it for something else.
Yes.
Their energy,
Yes.
their time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when it comes to where the energy is to accomplish what God has called,
Yes.
It's not there.
and it's not there, and then we feel that disappointment.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden now, we may not believe this, but enough disappointment over time will make you quit.
Yeah, that's true.
Not because you didn't have,
Right.
So true.
but because you disappointed God.
Yes, sir.
You appointed God's energy, his giftedness, his resources to something that wasn't appointed.
Yes.
Disappointment leads to dislocation.
Yes. Right.
You ever had a finger or a shoulder dislocated? It is not a fun occurrence. And we have to learn how to appoint things before they come to us.
Yes.
Some of you are asking God for more time. What is it appointed to?
Yeah.
Right. Amen.
Good
Amen.
question.
That's right.
You're asking God for more money.
That's right.
What is it appointed to?
Yeah. That's right.
Because if you cannot determine what it's appointed to, you will disappoint it.
Yes. Right. Yes.
And by disappointing it, you will be disappointed.
Yes.
And disappointed people are dislocated people.
Yes.
And dislocated joints can't move,
Yes.
but they're part of the body.
Preach.
Jesus.
Can you imagine having a shoulder you can't use?
My Lord. My Lord. Jesus.
Yeah.
We tend to like people who solve problems, but we can't stand the ones who prevent them. Come help me, but I can't be submitted to instructions. I made a mess. I don't remember what I just said. I made a mess. Can you come clean it up? But don't tell me how not to make that mess.
Come on, man of God.
Yeah. It's a good word.
I was telling them the other night, I said, you know, at times we're very hard on teenagers. Oh, no, I was telling them, try team that. That was y'all I was talking to. That wasn't y'all? Oh, you might not have been there. I think it was after practice, and I was sitting down talking to them. And we were talking about how hard I am at trying. Because at times I can be the most approachable person, but at other times, it's like you can tell they're like, should I say something? Should I not say something? And I was telling them, I said, you know, I said the problem with people who have not been is that they forget somebody has been.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
And the people that have been are not trying to stop you from being successful. They just remember what it felt like. Guys, let me talk to y'all, because let me get this more simplified.
Yes.
Good.
When you were watching, and y'all got to follow me on this one because I can't get vulgar about it. But when you were watching, when a baseball or a basketball was thrown, and it was thrown just below the midsection, and the person didn't get their hands there in time.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all remember that?
Yes. Yes.
Do you remember it wasn't you getting hit, but you?
Yeah.
Right. So good.
Jesus.
See, that's where those of us who have been there,
Yes.
that have tried to do it our way, and it failed,
Yes.
that's what we're doing when we're looking at you saying, don't do it.
Yes.
Good.
Don't go.
That's great.
Ladies, don't believe he loves you,
Yes.
because love starts with respect.
Yes.
So if there's no respect, there is no love.
Yes.
That's right.
That's real. Yes, Lord.
See, we got to stop wanting to be accepted based upon how we make people feel. If people can't accept you for who they know that you are, their feelings will change over time. That's why, ladies, don't get made up for the man and then go home after you're married and put on the rollers and then you better take one date to be makeupless.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like glory.
You know what my son told me? He said the first date that he goes on with a girlfriend is to the swimming pool.
Yep.
You don't need this one.
And he said, because he don't want no surprises. Show me all the phases before we get there.
That's good though. Real good.
But we like people who solve problems. We can't stand those who prevent them.
Prevent it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
Hallelujah.
Proactive.
Thank you, Lord God.
Let me live my own life, but clean up the mess that I made with it.
Yes. Thank you, Lord God.
Order is important.
Hallelujah.
Yes, it is.
Order is important. You know, I started to come from a particular passage. I think it was 1 Corinthians 12. Where it talks about do things in decency and order. That was my first movement to come from. But then I saw that it was not matching with what I was hearing. So I said, well, what matches with it? So I refrained from doing my little chalkboard until this morning because I didn't know exactly which way this was going to lead. But it leads to love's order. And I want you to turn your Bibles to 1 Timothy, the 6th chapter. You play so much better than I do. Y'all have to bear with me on this because we're all going there together. Because I don't know exactly how this is going to pan out. All right. And before I go there, I just want to just recap a little bit from 1 John. 1 John is this is a good one. 1 John is the most comprehensive book on love in the Bible. If you want to actually understand what it means and what God love, His love, that agape means, you have to indulge yourself in 1 John. And the reason being is because 1 John does not let you get away with the emotions of love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does not allow you to get away with philia. 1 John will make you responsible for actions because love is an action. It's not just a thought.
Yes.
Thoughts come into our mind every day. We can be loving people, but sometimes you can have some bad thoughts.
Right. Right.
You have some stuff come to your mind that just is not in keeping with the precepts and principles that you would like to associate yourself with, but they come.
Yeah.
And it's up to every last one of us to, once those thoughts come, immediately arrest them and measure them against God.
Yeah.
God is love. Measure them against love.
Yeah.
That's why the Bible says against love, there can be no, you can't hold anything against love.
Yeah. Right.
And the Bible tells us to owe no man nothing but love.
Yeah.
But this is something we owe each other just about everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Women, you owe men to look a certain way so they can call you beautiful.
Right.
That's your reward.
Mm.
Men, you have to have a job paying 6 figures so that you can buy diamonds and all those things, kill tigers and bears.
Oh my.
Oh my. And we get all this stuff flipped up in our mind, and after a while, there's no room for real love.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
There's no room for real love. You know what's so funny about it? That most of us in here don't even realize we do not love properly.
Right.
If Jay-Z was to walk in right now, some of y'all be sold. Jay-Z, oh my God. Beyonce walk in, that's Beyonce. She would be the event. What the praise and worship team was trying to get y'all to do, they would get it.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I'm finding out that's the problem with Force of Life. Force of Life,
Yes.
they've always had, and you know, I'm going to build y'all up a little bit. I'm going to tell you that.
We receive it.
We've always had good music,
Yes.
good dancing, good worship. And
Yes.
people just come in comfortable with us.
We used
That's
to it
true.
every Sunday.
That's
Yeah.
very true.
That's true.
That's right.
That's true.
And then, you know what else has happened to us, Pastor Tony? Is that we become so free
Yes. That's good.
that we're free from responsibility.
Yes.
Yes.
So now, Pastor Laron is my boy.
Yeah.
Yes. There you go.
Sad.
Now he has a responsibility and he's been given an authority, but now he's my boy. So since he's my boy, when I'm in this setting, he's still just Laron to me.
Right.
Sad.
Right. My God. Yeah.
He's not the authority that's been put in place. I tell you what, the only place that we handle things like that is at church.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Go to
real.
your job and do it.
Yes.
Say it.
Go to your job. Hey, Jim. I don't feel like doing this today, so can you find somebody else to do it? It's like, sure. Hey, John, can y'all please call up the next person in line?
Yeah.
And some of y'all say, well, I'm my own boss. Well, your own boss sometimes can go bankrupt because you ain't got no customers.
Okay.
Bam!
I'll land.
That's real.
Ooh, Lord.
But what does he say? Beloved, 7th verse in 1 John 2. You got to turn there. Y'all believe that I'm reading from the Bible. Because I know some of y'all don't believe nothing. Beloved, I am not writing you a new commandment to you, but an old one, which you have had from the beginning. God never gives anything new.
Yes.
Bishop Evans once says, if it's new, it ain't true.
Oh, yes, he did.
Oh,
Yes, he
man.
did.
Oh, man.
Mm.
Good.
Come on,
If it's
say it.
new, it ain't true.
Yeah.
Right.
Ecclesiastes says there's nothing new under the sun.
That's right.
Okay, has any of you ever seen the light of day without the sun?
No.
No. Human beings didn't start to exist until there was a sun.
Mm.
God put everything in order. You know what he did? He finished everything so that we would have a say.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Say it.
Yeah.
That's the lovely thing about God. God finishes things and then puts you on the spot.
Yes. That's what he does.
And what do we have? Opinions and says.
Mm.
Yep. So true.
God, this is how I want my wife to look. This is how I want my husband to look. We have so many says, and then your say gets you knocked out.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
He's handsome. He's fair to look at. But he also, his hand is what you see the most.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Come on.
True.
It's true.
It's the truth. Right.
But he says, I'm not writing you a new commandment, but one which I've given you from the beginning. An old commandment is the word which you have heard. On the other hand, I am writing a new commandment to you. Why does he say that? Why does he say, I am giving you an old commandment? It's not something new. But then he turns around and says, I'm giving you a new commandment. You want to know why? He said, because you ain't get it the first time.
Yes.
So to you, it's new.
Yeah.
To your understanding, it's new.
Yeah.
Now what he says is, which is true in him and in you, because the darkness is passing away, and the true light is already shining. My eyesight is getting better. The one who says he is in the light and yet hates his brother is in darkness until now. The one who loves his brother abides in the light, and there is no cause for stumbling in him. But the one who hates his brother is in the darkness and walks in the darkness and does not know where he is going, because the darkness has blinded his eyes. There's a certain thing you can do, Mackenzie, when you're not ignorant. That you can't do when you just read. You know, when I'm just reading, I'm like, what the devil is that? But what he's saying here is there's a principle behind this. Let's just get rid of your brother. There's something that's put in place, Mackenzie, before we get here. And why am I talking to you a lot today? I'm talking to you a lot for a reason. But there's something that is put in place before we got here that we must adhere to.
Yes, yes.
That's right.
God tells us to love. He don't tell us to love because that person is lovable.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, yes.
That's right.
See, love is the only attribute that can exist outside of anything.
Yes.
Everything else needs connection with something in order to be. But true love, agape, does not need anything. Does not need the person. What is the statement in Peaceful Warrior? He said, oftentimes, those who are hardest to love are the ones who need it the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, make no mistakes about it. The love that they need ain't accommodation.
That's
right.
right.
It's not pacifying.
No.
Right.
It's the truth.
Yes.
That's right.
You need to know the truth even when you don't want to hear it.
Yes.
When you've lied and somebody say you are a liar,
Yes.
you needed to hear that you were a liar.
Yes.
Because if you don't hear it, guess who's not going to tell you? You.
Yes. That's real.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell you the correct things about your life. Even in our moment when we are analyzing ourselves and we like, you know, I need to get myself together, you still not there enough
right.
to see it.
Right.
Even Jesus said to the lepers who were healed, he said, now go show yourself to the priest.
Yeah.
Why? Because Jesus understood this, that no man can examine his own fruit.
Yeah.
That's right. Good.
You can't. Your best intent is littered with horrible motives.
Yes.
That's why the Bible says there's nothing good in a man. We got to be taught. That's why he says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. That don't mean adore her.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. Yes.
That's right.
Uh-oh. That don't mean tell her she's beautiful every time she dresses up. That's not the love he's talking about right there.
Right.
Listen at what it says. Love your wives as Christ loved the church and did what? Gave himself. How did he give himself? He died on the cross. A lot of people make emphasis of that. Yes, but you got to remember, that was in the original plan. That is not something that just happened in time.
Right.
The lamb was slain before the foundations of the world. So it's not like you asking him to do something out of pity.
Right.
Nor out of, I adore you so much, so let me die for you. Now I was going to die because while you were yet sinners.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There are people out there now that's not choosing him. He still died for them.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
So you see how love needs nothing? It
Yes.
doesn't need the reciprocation.
Right, right.
Because there's going to be some that will not reciprocate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. How do I give myself for it? I put all in so that what needs to work with this union works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I forsake all others.
Yeah.
I don't have a best friend outside my wife.
Yes.
I hear people all the time, they going back to their classroom, well, this is my husband, this is my best friend, Jenny. How's that your best friend? If your husband, your wife, is not your best friend, something wrong.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know
It's
some of
true.
y'all sitting there like,
It's true.
Very true.
oh my God.
That's
It's
real.
true.
Well, my mama my best friend. Why did you marry your mama?
Yeah. Marry your mama.
And boys typically are more towards the mother, and girls are typically more towards the father. Listen, no one want no man that his mama got to tell him everything to do.
Right.
That's right.
And don't nobody want a woman whose daddy got to come to their rescue every time. Every time your car breaks down, your daddy got to come from 400 miles away. I know a father's like that.
That's true.
I hear them all the time complain. Yeah, I had to drive up here because her tire blew out.
Yes. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
It's
True. That's good.
It's right.
You know, when you start getting into stuff like this, people start getting antsy. But get to itching and all. Y'all know how it is. You up there, you want to scratch, and you know you don't want to.
See this love?
1 Timothy, the 6th chapter. And I'm going to read this from the Amplified, if you guys don't mind. If you do, it's too bad. All right. All who are under the yoke as bondservants, slaves. Okay, first of all, some of y'all can get offended there. Are to regard their own masters as worthy of honor and respect, so that the name of God and the teaching about him will not be spoken against. Okay. Let's go ahead and get rid of some myths real quick.
Yes, yes.
Okay, when you see under yoke as bondservants, I want those of you in here who are slaves under bondservant to anyone on earth stand.
Anyone on earth. See, I gotta know what bondservant is. What's the definition?
Those who are
Oh.
enslaved.
Okay, well, yes.
Now, if you don't know what it means, you don't agree with it, sit down. All right. Put your hands down. I mean, you're behind something. All right. Those of you who are not a bondservant or slave to any man, stand.
Nah, some.
You like, wait, everybody need to stand up first.
Can you know what? I am so sorry, y'all. I forgot y'all's candy.
My God, Mike.
Shut up, Fred. All right. All right. All right, have a seat. Can anybody here tell me, interpretation-wise, what this means? Can you give me my licorice?
I can.
Is anybody on you?
We're slaves, like anybody that we owe money to.
Anybody we owe money to? Okay. My hands.
I would say, is there anybody on earth that has authority
Right. Anybody?
over you in
Right.
certain aspects of your life?
Right. Like your manager, your boss.
Manager,
right.
boss. My
Mhm.
job
That you're
is.
under.
Very good. So again, I ask, who in here is under bondservant and a slave?
So true.
Oh, Josiah was gonna just sit down there and mama say, you better get up, you a slave to me. All right, have a seat. See, this is the problem with the culture that we're in, especially with men. We so proud that we won't admit we're under somebody.
Yeah.
Because I'm my own man. See, just because you came from the streets don't make you bad. It is the most amazing thing to me to see how people they want to prove you wrong about a truth.
It can happen.
This has nothing to do with anybody being a slave working in a cotton field. That's just where your mind and where your teaching has taught you. Isn't it something? The very people that's supposed to be standing up and advocating for our freedom keeps us in chains.
Come on.
Because they want you to believe you're oppressed in everything. But yet you go where you want,
Come on.
spend your money where you want to.
That's the truth.
That's right.
Show up late to work when you want to. Get fired
When you want.
when you need to be.
That's true.
But it's the most amazing thing to me, where we are.
Yeah.
He's talking, and watch how he fashions it. After I just told you that, watch how he fashions this. All who are under the yoke as bondservants, slaves, are to regard their own masters as worthy of honor and respect, so that the name of God and the teaching about him will not be spoken against. Watch this. Those who have believing masters, in other words, if you work or you are under someone who is a believer, are not to be disrespectful toward them because they are brothers in Christ. But they should serve them even better. In other words, people who are over you, who are believers, you should even more be faithful.
That's right. That's right.
If you were to actually listen to these sermons being preached when they were preached, we'd be offended.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the temperament. Nowadays, you know, we walk around and we're exegesisly correct. We're expositor, so it sounds good to you. You're like, oh, yes. Back then it was like, ooh. Really?
Yeah.
See, nowadays, the truth that comes as a knife feels good to people. Because people can say, yes, amen, but it's not that they're going to adhere their lives to it.
Right.
Now look what he says. A morbid interest in controversial questions. You ever seen people that just got to question everything? Well, I'm just trying to figure out this right here. Well, why is such and such? Listen, you don't know why you here.
Right.
You haven't even asked the question why you here, but you want to question everybody else.
Yes.
You don't know your purpose. But I got to figure out, is Angie right in the Lord?
Right. Preach.
Come on.
It's truth.
That's good.
He is conceited and woefully ignorant, understanding nothing. He has a morbid interest in controversial questions and disputes about words. Somebody say a word, you know what they meant.
Yes.
The track team do that all the time. I'll say something and they know what I meant. And they be sitting there like, and I just sit and look at them. You know what I meant. Do I detect a little hostility? A couple of y'all gotta loosen yourself.
That's right.
Disputes about words which do what? Which produce envy, quarrels, verbal abuse, evil suspicions.
Jesus.
Well, let me keep my eye on Bishop. I got to make sure he's a true man of God, because see, he don't look like the other men of God. He got a little boy in him.
A little what?
And watch this. Ain't no true boy or man of God should be able to play basketball and do the stuff he's doing on Freddie. There's no way that's a true man of God doing all that on the court on him like that. And perpetual friction between men. You ever seen people that just never satisfied with an answer? Just never satisfied. It's not good enough. Bishop, I got this and this and this. What do you think I should do? Well, I think you should do this, this, this. Well, what do you mean? I meant do this, this, and this. I'm not quite following. That's your problem. You're not following. Look at your neighbor and say, you can't see what I see if you're not following.
If you're not following.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
It's so true though.
And perpetual friction between men who are corrupt in mind and depraved of the truth, who think that godliness, watch this, is a source of profit or a lucrative money-making business withdrawn from them. But watch this way. Look at how he fashions godliness. He says, but godliness actually is a source of great gain when accompanied with contentment.
Yeah. My God. Yeah.
See, some of y'all want more money because you're not content with what you got. But see, you're not going to truly do right in life until you get content. And then ask God. But see, that's where that appointment comes from. And it says that contentment which comes from a sense of inner confidence based on what? The sufficiency of God. Not in things. For we have brought nothing into the world. So it is clear that we cannot take anything out of it either. But, and this is the test for Christians here, if we have food and clothing.
Mm.
Did anybody else see any other things in there? You see anything in there about nails? You see anything about sneakers?
No.
No television.
I thought they had a 90-inch television screen. But if we have food and clothing,
Lord Jesus.
with these we will be content.
Enough. Jesus. Lord Jesus.
Some people ask sometimes, well, why do you eat the way that you eat? Part of it has to do with my health. The other part is the necessities of life, the way of life. What he says, isn't life more than food? Isn't life more than clothing? The two areas that it tells us to be content with. But it says life is more than that. Why? Because at the very core of it, without God, none of that stuff matters.
Yeah.
What if we all decide right now, we just going to give up all the cares of life, that means clothing and all, let's walk around naked.
No job, no house.
I mean, just think about it. If you had to give up everything, no jobs, no house, no cars, no grocery stores, it's just you and the wild. Mutual of Omaha. Wild Kingdom. Just how you still believe you're not a slave. You still believe you're not a slave. Your mama straightened that out for you. But just imagine we had to get rid of all those things. What would your conceit be?
Right.
What would it be your God? Because it's clear to some of us, things are our God.
That's right. That's true.
That's how we know we can do things, and when we can't do something, you can tell when people ain't got no money. How you doing? I'm doing all right, I'm making it. And what's going on? Well, no, everything's all right.
It'll be all right.
It'll be okay. I'm just not worried. How you doing? Those things get to us.
Yeah.
I can tell just as good when Ari ain't got no money. I call her, and she answers the same way all the time. Hello.
Yeah.
So, Aurora, what are you doing? Nothing. How was your day? It was fine. Watch this. I'm gonna send you some money in a little bit. Oh, okay. How track practice? Oh, it was good. We did such. And then such. I started saying, you are the reason for my sermon on Sunday. But ninth verse. But those who are not financially, where am I? Am I in the right place?
Yes, sir.
Yes. But those who are not financially ethical and crave to get rich.
Huh? Crave it, Bishop. Crave it. Oh,
Those who crave to get rich with a compulsive, professed, and by doing so have erred and missed the mark and strayed from the faith.
Jesus.
Nope, I jumped. Crave to get rich with repulsive and greedy longings for wealth. Fall into temptation and a trap and into many foolish and harmful desires. Your pursuits produce your desires. Your pursuits govern your desires. So whatever you go after, it will produce not just going after that, but desires that go along with it. And there are some desires that even though the pursuit is not evil, the desires are that are on that trail. Listen, you want to go to Ruth Chris? There's also a gentleman's club on the same road.
Yeah. That's right. It sure is.
Are you strong enough to pursue and it not be your Lord? Because the Lord will have you stop.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good. That's really good.
Whew. For the love, no, I'm not right. Fall into temptation and the trap into many foolish and harmful desires that what? Plunge people into ruin and destruction, leading to personal misery. So destruction here is fashioned as personal misery. So it's not that your life falls apart. You can actually have all the stuff and be miserable.
Yeah.
How do people who are multimillionaires commit suicide? How do people who have all the fortune and fame commit suicide?
Yeah. True.
See, we're thinking those things will take us to a place, but we don't understand that the desires that they create as we go is what's going to get us. It's not the thing.
It's true.
It's the desires. It's what it makes you.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
And then the 10th verse. This is the verse that I've been trying to get to. For the love of money, that is the greedy desire for it, and the willingness to gain it unethically. A lot of people say, well, how do you gain money unethically?
There's a few ways to go.
Yeah. A lot of ways.
Because you can gain and it not be what we deem in our society unethically, but to God it is.
Yeah.
That's right.
You ever heard of this term called usury?
Yes.
Usury is an old biblical term. It's not spelled out in the Bible, but in that particular time, particularly during the time when Israel was carried away to Babylon, and right before Nehemiah was commissioned to give the word to build a wall. Usury, and we have it now today. Usury is when, and I'm going to give you an example of it today. Usury is when you go and take out a loan or a credit card. Get a credit card. And on that credit card, they say you have an APR of 25.6. That's usury.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because by the time you get finished paying that back, if you just do the minimum, and they love minimums.
Oh, they love that.
By the time you get finished paying it back, you're going to pay back 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes 10 times more than what you tell.
Yeah.
That's true.
Let me show you usury. When you take someone out to dinner and you buy their dinner, and then you expect them to side with you in wrong.
Right.
It's usury. Usury is when something benefits one-sided.
Yeah.
God likes a just balance. He hates an unjust balance. So in other words, in life, whenever you ask God to do something for you, if your aim is not for it to bless you, but you bless others, you are unethical.
Yes.
Amen.
Because ethics has to do with, the reason why we're ethical and moral is for each other.
Yeah.
See, if I live by myself, I don't have to be ethical or moral.
Yeah.
I can, if I lived in my house, I could leave my underwear, socks, all over the house. But because I have someone living in the house with me, I have to respect them. That I don't want them having to pick up my clothes.
That's right.
That's just ethical and
Right.
being morally correct.
That's right.
If I'm at the job, I do certain things because there's other workers there.
Right.
Yeah. That's right.
And because there are other people in this body, there's certain things that I refrain from doing.
Yeah.
Or that I do that benefits all.
Yes.
So when you talk about being ethical when it comes to finance, any time the finance or the gain is just for you, you are unethical.
Yeah, that's right.
True.
That's right.
True.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I got y'all. I see where you at.
That's right. Yeah.
That's real.
They said the love of money is the root of all evil. You know, there was a movie, Holly Berry, John McClane. What's his name? Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis and Holly Berry was in it. And it was a mystery type movie. And I remember that statement about the scripture was made in there. Love, the love of money is the root of all evil. And the guy, he made a correction to it. He said, no. He said, it's love is the root of all evil. And I sat back and I was like, why would he say that? So of course, you know, being the person that I am who loves to research things and look up, I went and looked it up. Why does he say love is the root of all evil? God is a just God, right? He's balanced.
Right.
So the same thing that makes you adhere to his principles is the same process that can make you adhere to something else.
Yeah.
The process itself. What did the serpent tell Eve? He says, no, that is not right. You will not surely die. For God knows that the day that you eat of this fruit, your eyes will be open and you will be like God. You will be in the same process, knowing good and evil.
Right.
Or determining what's good and what is evil.
Yes.
Now, just imagine if God tells us not to determine what's good and what's evil. Now, think about that concept. If you do not have the right to say something is evil or something is good, how can I go wrong?
Right. Yes.
Unless this is teaching me a process that love in itself, if it's not attached with God, you're going to love something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yes, you are.
If you don't love God, which means to adhere to
Right.
his commands, what he say? They will know you love me if you keep my commandments.
Right. Right.
So if the love ain't towards God, it's going to be towards something.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
Think about that. If you don't love your husband or your wife the correct way, you're going to love something.
Yes. Yes. Yes, you will.
Boy,
Yes.
Good.
Yes, you
That's
will.
good.
no man is ever empty.
Yeah.
That's right.
Even in your most bored state right now, about to fall asleep, you're not empty. You are adhering to something.
Yes.
That's true.
You are a slave to something.
That's right.
We were listening at the song again this morning. Sir, the Baptist says, I can't be a slave if the master is living inside of me.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would he say that? If the master is living inside of me, I can't be a slave. In other words, if I live for myself, then that means I'm not adhering to something else.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
What are you a slave to? What do you love? And what do you operate in the love of? Because if a thing does not have power, money doesn't. As much as we like to believe money makes the world go round, see, the ignorant part of human beings is this, is that we honestly believe the hype.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
That's right.
The paper in your wallet means nothing without what it's attached to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It means nothing.
That's right.
What do we say? Man, we gotta get it here, we gotta make that money. And then what happens to us? The money makes us.
It sure
Yeah.
does. It
Now
sure
something
does.
that has no power, we relinquish our power to it, and now it rules and guides us.
Yes.
Now all of a sudden, now I can't move when God tells me to move because my money said no.
Ooh.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
God told me to go apply for this job, but I can't because I don't have the credentials. So now you got love of credentials.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
I told my students the other day after practice, I said, listen, I said, let me share something with y'all. I said, you got to find in life what you can do without getting paid.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
I said, Now, if you can do something without getting paid, if you can get paid for it, you will do right by it.
Yeah.
But if you are miserable in doing it
Yes.
because you chasing out the money,
Yeah.
So true.
you out there driving around your Mercedes with your little Starbucks in your hands. Starbucks. And thinking you've conquered life when you're nothing but a slave to it.
My God. Jesus.
You can't even love your neighbors and your enemies right because you only look after you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Who have you taught lately the truth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who have you loved properly? Told them the truth. I ain't talking about the truth. Some of y'all come, well, this is the truth. You're going to be a man. Go somewhere with that man stuff.
I know that's right. Throw that
Yes.
away.
Yes.
So stupid.
Well, if you're going to be a man, you got to do this. Who says?
Right.
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 Right. Come on, Bishop.
You can be a man working the hardest jobs in the world.
Yep.
But if you don't know God,
Yeah.
if you don't
Real.
love God,
That's right.
not an emotional, oh, God touched me today, oh, Jesus. No, I'm talking about when he tells you no. Lord, whatever you say.
Yeah.
Who is your Lord?
Yeah.
And we're talking about love's order.
Yes.
We're talking about ordering our lives to love, to what he has instituted before the foundations of the world.